Hello and welcome to the basics of variable expressions. The learning target for this video is knowing the different parts of variable expressions and how to evaluate them. So first of all, to introduce you to a variable expression, it's just an expression with a variable and a number. So it could be something as simple as x plus 2, it could be something like 3x, or it could be 4x minus 1. And the variable can change. Oftentimes, we like to use x and y, sometimes a and b, sometimes n gets used. And so it just really can vary. But the thing is, you have a variable, you have some numbers, and maybe you have some operations between them. And so what I want to talk about first are the terms that you need to be familiar with. First one is variable. Now, the word variable has several different definitions and different applications in math. But in this case, what it is simply a symbol that represents a number. Represents, let's put that down here, that represents a number. Because what you usually do with variable expressions is you're going to plug in a value for that variable. And so that symbol is just sort of a placeholder. That's what a variable is. It's a placeholder for multiple numbers that could be thrown in there. And with that being the case, it could be any number. It doesn't have to be a specific number. It can be any number we want it to be. Next term I want to talk about, coefficients. Coefficients. All right, what this is it's the number next to the variable. The number next to the variable. And it's usually held together by multiplication. And so, for example, a coefficient would be, if we look at this, 2x plus 1, the coefficient is 2. Now, we're going to get a little more confusing as if we were to do something like x over 2 plus 1. This 2 is sort of the coefficient. It's actually more like there's an invisible 1 right there, and the coefficient is 1/2. All right, and so what it is, it's the number next to the variable. In this case, it's 1/2 is next to the x, and then in this one, it's 2 next to the x. And then the final term I want to go over, constant. And all this is, it's a fancy word for regular number. So as we have variable expressions and eventually variable equations, you're going to have values that are not related to a variable. These are the constants. No matter what you plug in for x, you're always going to add 1 in the two expressions in yellow up there. So the 1 is a constant figure. That's something you're always going to do is add 1. There's no variable, simply a regular number. Now what you're going to have to do is evaluate these expressions. And so I first want to talk about the process for this. And so the first thing you have to do is substitute using parentheses. So substitute using parentheses. And that is key because eventually you're going to have multiple variables in one expression. Not only like multiple like x's or something like that, but maybe different types of variables. So you might have some x's and some y's. You're going to have some negative signs. And so using parentheses is key. Make sure you use those. 2, it then becomes an order of operations problem. So order of operations. So use order of operations to simplify. So now let's go through some examples. Let's say, and the way the directions are usually going to be written is some variation of evaluate, come on, there we go. Evaluate when x equals -2. And then you're going to be given expressions. So let's say the first one is x plus 5. Okay, so the first step is to substitute using parentheses. And so that's exactly what we're going to do. We'll substitute our x for -2, or -2 for x, using parentheses. And now it's order of operations, which is simply just addition. -2 plus 5, 3. And that's your answer. Now, let's kick it up a notch. Let's say we have a coefficient. Let's say we have 4x plus 9. So here, same process, 4. And remember, the coefficient, it's held together by multiplication. So it's 4 times x, so 4 -2. And it's understood that these are being multiplied together, plus 9. And so order of operations, you have to do your multiplication first, which will give us -8 plus 9. And then we do our addition, and that gives us just 1. Now, I want to show you a different variation of this one. Let's say we did -4x plus 9. So the parentheses are really helpful here. So -4 times -2 plus 9. Excuse me. So here we're going to multiply -4 and -2 for +8 plus 9. And so now you can see how the negative sign plays a big difference between numbers 2 and number 3. In number 2, it was -8, but now it's +8. And so when we add that to 9, we're going to get +17. So again, that's why I suggest you use parentheses to help you with that. Finally, let's talk about multiple variables. So let's say we're going to evaluate when a is equal to -3, b equals 1, and let's say c is equal to 5. And so our first expression is 4a minus b. So what we're going to do is plug in or use parentheses to substitute, and then we'll use order of operations. So 4 times -3 minus, in parentheses, 1. And so what we're going to get from this is 4 times -3 for -12 minus 1, -13. And that's our final answer. Let's go with another example. This time, let's go with 2bc minus 3a. And so this is where it can get a little bit confusing. We have all these things kind of jammed together here. Well, we have to understand that this is a big multiplication problem. This is saying 2 times b times c. So that's why I'm writing those little x's up there. That's multiplication. So what we're going to do is go 2 parentheses, b is 1, c is 5, minus 3 in parentheses, -3. And again, this really helps us with, having the parentheses helps us with negative signs. I'm seeing -3 times -3, so that's going to become plus 9. And then here I'll have 2 times 1, which is 2, times by 5 is 10, and 10 plus 9 is 19. And there you go. So that's sort of the basics of variable expressions. Here we have 3 terms that you need to be familiar with: variable, coefficient, and constant. And then after that, it's just about the process. Substitute using parentheses, and then simplify using order of operations. Good luck with your homework or practice, and let me know if you have any questions.